1, 2, 3, spec the game.
Welcome to ONV, Respect the Game. Tonight we'll be talking about physical and mental health with our student athlete. But we're going to get started about last week, the last podcast that we had, and want to welcome J.J. Foster, Coach Foster, to the panel. Thank you for coming, my guy. What's going on?
Hey, you, man. That's definitely an honor for being here, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you for giving me your input on our conversation about the college atmosphere as far as kids going to school, or like we was talking how back in the day, since I went old school, you know, that if you didn't go to school, you didn't go to class,
you didn't play,
you didn't get your grades, but you put a great putback on that subject, and if you could elaborate on that for me, I appreciate it.
Hey, will do. First off, this is my favorite podcast, so therefore I'm listening to the podcast, so then
appreciate that.
I'm going to provide my feedback.
Yeah.
I have a relationship with my college, Coastal Carolina, where I played and went for 4 years, and then all the local colleges here in Fort Wayne. And, what amazed me, and it's funny because I was kind of like you guys, but what has amazed me is that these kids nowadays, when COVID came into play, you have athletes and students that take classes online.
Yes.
So the majority of the classes are online. There's a lot of student athletes right now that the only time they're on campus is to practice or to play in that game. I think Purdue Fort Wayne practices at like noon. So, I go out, I talk to the coach, say, hey, I want to watch a practice. And they're practicing at noon. Like, hey, how do you guys do that? Well, the kids take classes, online. Same thing, again, at Coastal. We go, they got practice 10 in the morning. How y'all doing that? They can do that. Kids get to class, get the practice out the way, and then you're taking classes online. So I just wanted to make sure you guys all understood that. It wasn't like, again, when you were in class or when you were in school or I was in school, you're right, you had to go to class. You have a however many long road trip. You got to get your butt up and go to class. Coach go check and make sure you're there. Now, no, that's not what it is.
Well, I was going hard at it, because I was like, we're not having our kids being responsible and blah, blah, blah. So I appreciate you bringing that information to the panel. But, real quick, we want to talk about the physical and mental health of our youth student athletes. And I just want some feedback from you guys so we can get this rolling. Anybody want to get this going on?
Okay. I feel like when it comes to the mental health for the athletes, it depends a lot on what you got going on at home, and that plays a big atmosphere into it. And also, like, stress, the community. I think you were saying earlier, Muhammad, about the community taking effect and toll on that as well. Pretty much is what kind of plays into that. So,
well, I look at it on the mental health. I mean, I have a daughter that's in college, and she's a student. She's a trainer, athletic trainer, and a lot of her classes, like you said, are online. And I was like, how are you? She's like, Dad, class online. I got 2 classes online. I got 2 classes that I actually go to. I'm like, I'm almost feel like I'm wasting my money, but as far as the athletes, and me and her talk a lot about it, and she was like, well, they're not stressed no more. Literally, they're not stressed because, like you said, they could go to class online and then go to practice. So, and I'm like, hold on, do y'all actually have to go at a certain time? She's like, no.
Okay, so do you think that that's building less stress by being at home? Like, you still taking on 2 things, like sports and class work, unless they got somebody else doing the class work for them. You see what I'm saying? It's
easier because, like, she was telling me, she could take that class online anytime.
At her convenience.
Yeah, it's basically at their convenience. It's not like, okay, you have to be in this class online at this certain time. The work, the syllabus, and everything is
Laid out for
there.
you. Yeah.
And all you gotta do is go do the work.
So, JJ, what you think?
I was gonna say. I mean, I just say this when I hear E say it's easier. Obviously it's different times. So when you say it's easier, and then she just kind of elaborated like they still got class and they still got practice. And we talk about where you took it, old school.
Yeah.
I mean, what is stress? We can't quantify stress. It is something that's in your head. We talk about mental illness. As old school guys, we could look at it and be like, man, what you talking about? Ain't no stress.
Right.
What are you talking about? That's not tough. Y'all got it easy. That's where you coming from. Like, what you talking about? You got class online. You ain't got to get up.
Yeah.
But this kid's mind, as she alluded to, like, hey, I got to go to class. I got to make these. I got to get these grades, whether it's online or my butt is physically in the seats.
Yeah.
I got to get these grades, and I got to go to class where this coach is on my butt and has expectations for me.
Correct.
So I think a lot of it is just, our society has changed. And you talking about you walking a fine line.
Right.
Because again, when we're talking about mental health versus mental illness, I mean, you think about, we had the gymnast, she said, hey, she talked about her mental stress and got applauded for it. Whereas again, you've got old school people like, what are you talking about? Y'all to be like, hey, no, you suck that up, you
Right.
deal with it, you
Part of
go
life.
out there
Right.
and you get it done.
Because people was going off on her too.
They was going off. You
like
were-
why you supposed to be doing this because you're the greatest, and now all of a sudden you can't do this.
I think that ties into when they're younger too. Like sometimes you might notice something in a kid, like at a younger age, that they struggling with something, and it might seem mental, but we're not just taking our kids to get diagnosed with like, oh, they have depressional issues, or oh, they, you know what I'm saying? We're not throwing that onto them because that's also handicapping them from dealing with real world issues and actually building on that.
So once again, that's a community cultural thing, as far as like not doing the things you're supposed to do when you see signs. We tough it up.
Correct.
Get over it. That's our
I
thing.
think social media has also made it a platform to where we can go and talk about our feelings openly. So now we digging deeper on like, well, he's dealing with mental health issues, so let's not bash him, man.
Well, I mean, I agree and I disagree.
Okay.
Because I look at it as the simple fact, if I say I'm tired, people look deeper into the word that I'm tired versus I'm just saying I'm just tired. I just want to lay down.
Oh, he's fed up. He wants to jump.
Yeah,
You know
what I'm
it could be
saying.
anything
So you pushing it to a whole nother level versus not understanding. I'm just saying I'm just tired. I'm gonna lay down. You see what I'm saying? So is you taking things as an athlete, and I'm gonna speak from me when I was in college. I'm
Old school, right?
Yeah, I'm old school.
Okay.
So if this is not pressure, I had track practice at 5:30 in the morning. My class is at 7. So I had to do my practice, take a shower, and be at class.
That's rushed. That's rushed. I'm stressed out.
See, now you stressed. Guess what?
Because I got
Guess
to
what?
hurry up and
That was just normal for me.
that's what I'm saying.
Did
You see
take
what
a
I'm saying?
shower, though?
That's a normal movement for me. Then my last class is at 2:30. My afternoon track practice
I got to eat.
is at 3:30. Hey, I got to figure it out between 7 and 2:30 to figure out how I'm gonna eat lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So if you saying that's pressure, that's not pressure. That's just a normal day for me.
Well, I'm saying some people might have to sacrifice. I'm saying like I might not have time to eat because class might be back to back and then practice. I'm gonna eat after practice because
Exactly.
But
Or take a shower.
or take a shower. Look,
But I mean, it's just like I said, the generation that is of now versus what we did. We figured out how to manage our time.
budgeting time
does that
is the
make it a
number
mental
one.
illness?
That's not a mental illness. It's just once we got older, now we know how to manage our time as an adult.
So
Societal norms.
now we're talking about today's kids, today's youth, the high school. Listen to this: the high school youth who having issues at the house you know, mama don't work, you know, mama doing this, mama doing that,
Right.
you know.
Keep the
But then I still gotta
Live normal.
live normal, go to school, go to practice, you know, go to class. You can elaborate on that.
Can I answer a question? Hold on, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Mark. You just said kids nowadays
Yes.
are going through that.
Not all.
Now I'm gonna sit up here at this panel. If I was to ask Mr. Muhammad, if I was to ask you, what has changed? Wasn't that the same thing back then?
I think we dealt with it better than.
We did, but I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah.
You gave the stressors.
Wait, I'm with you.
You gave
I'm
the
with you on that
stressors.
one.
No.
And then as if they handled it different. But go ahead, Mark, and then I'll go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Mark.
I believe what we leaving out is the drug dependency, and you know through decades, you know through the '80s it was the crack. Now we into the fentanyl, so you know,
And continue with the alcohol.
and the alcohol was always there.
Yeah.
You know, when I had a group home, I had a kid in there, right, and you know when I check on the guys at night, he was doing this all the time, rocking and stuff, like he was doing crunch. That's how he slept, because he was a cocaine baby. You see what I'm saying? So that's in his system. So
That addiction.
he's passing it on to his children. So we missing that in when it comes to mental illness and whatever. And it's a new norm now.
Right.
It's a new time and it's a new norm.
What
And I think really, Mike, I wasn't getting on you, but I'm just, you know, you put that to today's kids, but we all have. I mean, those issues were still there.
No, I totally agree. I was
Yeah.
just saying, like, they're softer today
Okay.
Well,
than
I'm gonna
how
tell you-
we was coming up, because we went through it and we went to school and nobody knew our home life situation.
Exactly.
They also
Correct.
babied too. We baby them in.
You talking about now?
Yes, we got.
'Cause we never got babied.
counselors. Come to the office if you going through. You can sit out of class, and we got all these extra activities.
But see, here's the other thing that I see versus me growing up and now. If us four was on a team, if all of us was on a team, we looked out for each other. It wasn't no, I'm the man.
Yeah,
No. If you knew I had an issue at home, if say JJ knew I had something going on at the crib, I could talk to JJ. I could talk to Mike. And it wouldn't go no further than us. And we'll look out for each other.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one thing I could honestly say, growing up at the school I went to, the cats I was around, we was that close knit, where we actually hung out. To this day, we say we brothers.
Now they talk about.
Well,
you.
I think it's a little different, but I think they still doing the same as we did, and they doing it still. It's just not the way we did it.
They talk about you too now. Too.
We talk about each other too.
back then.
okay.
We call it joning.
Yeah, we call it Jonah.
I'm gonna agree with everything he said, and what he like. Hey, the key that you said was at the school that I was at. You had a special group of people. Because I'm gonna let you know the secret. There were some other schools around town who didn't have the cohesiveness, and it cost them some city championships, it cost them some state runs, and everything else. You just happen to be a part of a good group.
Yes.
Because that's what we're talking about right now. It's going on right now. There's some teams that are a little closer knit. They're cohesive. I can't paint a broad brush and say it's going on everywhere. No.
Right.
You was a part of a special group. People understood that.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. But yeah, if you want to be successful, you're right. That's just it. You recognize it's bigger than whatever sport you in. You take the totality of the whole situation, the home life, and where it's at. And if I'm on your team, we're gonna be big. I got to figure out what makes
What's gonna
what
help.
makes you tick. What's gonna help? How can I lift you up? You know, that's part of. I use Wayne as an example. They did a great job. Them kids, I watched them kids grow. I watched that coaching staff from the time they took over. And that's a part of the success that they had.
Yes.
Had they been at that, we can talk about some old school Southside teams. Why we playing? Well, some of the most talented teams in the state, they lost cats fighting in regionals or semi-state. Got into it. So to your point, that disease of me is something that's going to do. That'll do any team in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I appreciate them comments.
So, when we talk about the physical aspect of the student athlete, like where is it now? Where are they at right now as far as like the conditioning and want to work hard? Yeah.
That's what I want to hear too.
Yeah. So,
Wow. Hey, you know what? And again, y'all know I know only way to speak is real because real is
yes,
truth.
sir.
If I want to keep it Fort Wayne community, because obviously I'm a South, I'm inner city, versus suburban versus schools that's on the outside of the city. I see kids that are utilizing all these training opportunities. Now, again, whether it's OPS, whether it's PSM, they're utilizing all that. Hey, you got the family that's bought in because they know that's what they need to make their kid grade or to compete. Mm-hmm. Now, when we move it in, whether it's what we talked about, socioeconomics, you can't afford that training or whatnot, But look around. Pick up the newspaper, look and see. How is it that these county schools that we talk about, and again, you guys are old school, that wasn't always the case.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you look at county schools, and they come to the city and they're not scared. Mm-hmm. They a lot of times more athletic. They're doing things because they're getting that training. They're keeping it serious. But again, to what I said, I've got kids, again, we want to take me and Southside, I've got kids who have to work. They're contributing to their families.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when you talk about working out,
I ain't got time for
families
that.
like, what I'm going to work out for? They're bringing bread to the family.
Yes.
Right.
And that's real. Mm-hmm. And I can't knock that as a coach. Now, again, all my people that don't know, I grew up, I went to Homestead. I'm a suburban kid, So I'm on both sides of the track.
Yeah.
That's why I love when I have these conversations. I sit up, I listen to people talk.
Yeah.
They can't just say, put me in the box over here. No. Yeah. And then like we talking about too, I grew up at Wisey Park. Now what?
Yeah.
But the bottom line.
You was blessed on both sides.
On both sides.
Yeah.
There you go. I've seen it and know how this works. But why, we're on that side of the tracks, and you got both parents working, or maybe one parent working. That's all that has to work. Mm-hmm. But they gonna make sure that kid, that sport that he has, you ain't got to work. That's where you working. We all in. I want you to be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
Whereas over here, again, like I said, hey, I really want you to do good, but hey, son, if you need them gym shoes that you're going to play in that sport in, or if you need, this extra, that extra, we're going to need you to contribute.
Right.
So that's where we're putting this big prayer on.
Can't have a physical.
That we're going to get our kids on that level where they're going to have the community, where they got the training and the place to go and get the physical and the mental and all that coming soon. So just be prepared for the blessing, that our Southside community is going to be having. And it's just a blessing. So my one thing too, and I keep going back to you, Jay, is because you dealing with our youth who, like you say, don't get the opportunity to do the training, but they still go out there and compete.
On a high level.
At a high level.
Imagine if they had the training.
Imagine if they had everything that the suburban had, or the outside area where they would be at right now.
Well, JJ, I'm gonna have to agree with you, because when I was in high school, I worked at Foot Locker. My junior and senior year, played basketball and ran track, and kept maintaining my grades. And the outside training, and this is no exaggeration, I took 4 hurdles home from school and lined them up in my back alley. That was my extra training.
Yeah, but we ain't doing that these days.
No, I mean I'm just saying, but I understand what he's saying about that.
Yeah,
because,
no, I'm just saying that-
because and then now I flip it over when my daughter played basketball.
People are not
Did
doing
she
that
work?
now.
Did your daughter work?
No, my daughter didn't work. My daughter didn't have to work for nothing because guess what? Daddy,
took
mommy had her.
Yeah.
Correct.
All you had to do was play basketball.
That's the blessing.
and play AAU and work out. That's it.
But I was going to say, but what he is speaking on right there, though, if you want to take it off to a whole nother level, I appreciate what he said. Like he said, look, I had to work, but I knew I was missing out. So I had to do the extra work. I took them hurdles home.
Right.
We got kids right now. They're going to tell you how great they are and where they want to play. And I'm going to play at Duke. I'm going to play at Michigan State.
But they ain't doing
But they're
that
not
work.
doing that work.
Yeah.
And if they think about that same kid that you just described, you know what? Oh, yeah, I got to work. I'm at Foot Locker, blah, blah, blah. They're not bringing a hurdle home.
Right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying? They're not
not.
putting that extra.
They're not putting that
and
extra
that's the
in.
conversation that I'm having.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to knock any kid and their dreams, but again, you have to be putting it, like what you just said.
Some type of
I
work.
brought home that extra, them hurdles.
I did,
I'm not going
literally.
to knock that because you're putting in work. But I get other kids, they saying that, okay, well, what are you doing? And again, we keeping me personal. I got guys with me right now. I got, gym is open. I got coaches. We available at any time. I got guys around the city. Everybody know this about me. I'm gonna make it work. You know.
Right.
Who have you contacted? Who are you working with? But yet, you want to play at the next level?
But that's the whole conversation. What we talking about, what he's saying about what he did as far as taking them 4 hurdles home. Ain't nobody taking that home now.
All you need is a good mixtape.
No.
You're right. You're actually
But
right.
listen,
Highlight
but-
tape.
but-
Good highlight
They
tape.
own too.
But yeah, you put the phone up and this and those, like. But I'm saying, like you said, Jay, we give them opportunity, but they rather be on the phone. They rather be, doing what's them TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Social media.
When is it time to be physical and
Mentally strong.
being prepared? How are they getting? Is anybody giving them
The mental.
the
aspect.
mental lessons or them
Yeah.
life learned lessons?
You can't.
I mean, it's like anything, man.
So hold on, before you ask that.
Okay.
So as a coach, I know it's hard for you per se to do everything because you only got them for what, 3 hours, 2 hours a day,
Yeah, true.
10 hours a week,
Yeah.
maybe 12.
But again, I'm not new to this, and again, as I refer to Mark, and Mark talked about group homes. Anybody knows, like, I'm family and children. Basketball coach, that's only part of what I do.
Right.
So I'm all about overcoming barriers and hurdles, and I'm not just gonna throw my hands up and say, "Oh, ain't nothing we can do." These kids already, So to your point, I mean, it's just a matter of keep being consistent with your message. Keep plugging away. I give live examples. One of my examples, if we go back a certain period, we had Vic Beecham, you had the Scott twins, you had James Blackman. All these kids was in Fort Wayne. All these kids played a high level after college. But you know what separated them from everybody else? All them kids was dogs. They all worked hard. They was out there. You go to any gym, they out there, they getting it in.
Yeah.
So whether I was talking to my own son or kids that I coach, you not working, but I go out here and I'm watching these cats put in all this time. These are the messages I'm using. Just like right now, I got a kid, a sophomore, 6'8", full of potential. Does he want it? I got him looking at. I'm sending videos of my kid up at Kokomo, the Florida kid.
Yes, sir.
I'm sending videos of the big 7-footer at Purdue. Dude, you want to be good. This is who you emulate yourself
Yes,
after.
yeah.
Quit talking to these guys around here or listening to people who ain't never been to where you're trying to get.
Right.
And you're
That's
not
the
even
message
close.
that I'm sending. I tell kids, many a time, you know what? Everybody, to a man, everybody look at me like I'm crazy. I say, hey, if I had a car repair, something's wrong with my car, and I walked over here to McDonald's and asked them, hey, man, what you think wrong with my car? And they told me something. And then I went down to Hires and I asked them about Hires, hey, what's wrong with my car? They told me, am I going to listen to Muggs at McDonald's or am I going to listen to Muggs at Hires?
You don't listen to Hires.
Bingo, you're going to listen to Hires. And everybody look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, so if I'm telling you something, you listen to your uncle or somebody who tell you, do that make sense?
Yeah.
Period.
Half the time, my question is to a lot of these young cats: Are you putting in the work? That's the key. One of the biggest things I learned when I was running track is what you do in the off season. And that's one thing I used to always tell my daughter. What you do in the off season will prove in season. And they don't understand that concept. How hard you work on the off season. Put it like this: my senior and junior year at Wayne, when we ran track, practice was dog practice. I mean, we eating each other up. So when we get to a track meet, this is fun. We having fun. Don't even worry about it. I got this. We having fun. But in practice, we ate each other up so bad where we fighting each other. Regardless of what, I'm finna beat you, or I'm finna outrun you, I'm finna outwork you. And even when I got into college, I was the same mindset. And they looking at me, why you working so hard in practice? Because some fact, what I do outside of practice, outside of the season, is gonna prove in season.
But that's that old school mentality, though.
Yeah, they don't got that
once
hunger.
again, when you talk about your stories, E, it means volume. Because people need to understand how people used to work to where they working now. It's like
That's what
you have
we
to be,
want, though. They don't necessarily want.
I was
it
going
like
to say,
that.
you have to be careful even how you talk to these kids
Yeah.
today. You can't yell at a kid
Yeah.
Because
with the mental part of
No.
it.
Yeah.
Because
they crying,
they
storming up.
crying because you're trying to put something in them to make them better. However you do it, however Coach Foster do it.
Or they quit.
Well, they're easy to quit. That's
the easy way out.
Always been the easy way out is to quit, never to fight. But once again, we're talking about the mental part of, how can we get into our kids without them wanting to quit, wanting to give up.
That's why I say, man, you just, continue. Examples, positive feedback. This ain't just me talking. Look, you want to be him, this could be you.
Yeah.
I'm centered. Again, you talking TikToks, I got some TikToks lined up. I got YouTube videos lined up. This is what this guy does to get where he's at.
Right.
What do you want to be? Before I came over this interview, we working out. You know what I told my big fella? Hey, man, want to be great. Want to be great. I'm done. I can't be negative. I'm just want to be great.
Yes.
Now, what does that mean? It's on you. It ain't me talking about how sorry you are, blah, blah, blah. No, want to be great. Put in that work. I'm going to give you the formula. Hey, at the end of the day, look, I'm representing my shots. At the end of the day, if you play at the level of the shots, that's Division I, smaller level, we know what we're doing on the football field. But hey, if you fall, if that's as short as you fall, you done made it.
Yes.
And I'm giving you that formula.
Yeah.
That day, forget the fact that I got a brother, played at IU,
Yeah.
hey, drafted by the Sixers,
Yeah.
hey, another brother, NAIA All-American,
Yeah.
cousins, played in the NBA here, there, the other, got people, forget about that. I'm just telling you what I know.
Right.
You follow that short. But you know what? You get guys, I've had guys, again, go back to what Mark talking about, we was at Harding. I had some guys say, hey, man, we would be like your brothers. Hey, what y'all do to be able to shoot like that? I said, man, get you 1,000 shots up today. They look at each other. I'm good.
Right.
Foreign language, man.
That's for that just what I'm good.
Right.
You good. Somebody
you
just gave
good?
the answer to the
It sound
test, but I'm
crazy.
good.
It sound crazy.
And again, people to this day, and I tell people, look, I said, man, I tell kids, here's my thing too. Look, I'm 54 years old. And people still come up and tell my teens, how good I am, blah, blah, blah. I told them, I said, I don't think I was that good. I said, I'm just be honest with y'all. I was a glue guy. I said, but here's the deal. The difference between me and y'all, I said, A, whoever I was guarding ain't gonna score, ain't gonna get their average. And B, my team was gonna win. That's all I cared about.
Right.
I never worried about numbers. I said, anybody that grew up watching me or knew me, they gonna tell you the exact same thing. They tell my brothers how much they shot. Hey, I just went out there, I just played.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to tell these guys. It ain't about that, man. Just listen, please, and let's get the job done. Period.
And once again, we're talking about trying to give that positive input where it's so hard and so difficult to install in these young people today because too many people, like we was talking, are in the ears that don't have nothing to do with nothing to do with your team. So a lot of times we'll tell them, hey man, You need to go out there and sit with your uncle who giving you all them advices. Because evidently we ain't giving you the right advice. So, you need to be playing with him.
Hey, it made me funny because, hey, all of us are old school up here. Hey, how long was some of these cats lasting with Thardale Hollins? I'm going to throw that at you guys. Thardale Hollins is their coach.
They're done.
But one thing with Mr. Hollins, almost everybody he coached was a good player.
Yeah.
Was all city.
Yeah. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
But what you do with a guy? I had a guy, and Jay know this. His initials is MA. What you do with a guy? In 8th grade, he run a 10-8 flat. And I'm arguing with him. I'm like, you ain't run no 10-8 flat in 8th grade.
Hey, Chuck Taylor's.
I said, you ain't. Then we went home and we raced. I got him like the first 15 yards. Then he came by me. He was like, I told you. And then when he was a freshman, he ran the first track meet. He ran a 10-7 flat and shattered Northside school record at that time when he was a freshman. But he wouldn't practice. They used to call me, Bobby Brown and them, and be like, how come you don't practice? And I asked him, I said, how come you don't practice? He said, can't nobody beat me. So, he is kids that got the talent.
Yeah.
But don't perfect it.
Or hasn't been conditioned or trained and he was dealing with that and a little bit of mental illness too. And this how fast he got. You a track guy. Before his sophomore year, we put him in summer track, and he was running 10-5s against college boys, and he never ran track after that.
Well, see that something, and I will never forget my first track meet in college. I'm coming out of high school. Now, I'm long jumping. I'm coming out of high school jumping 24 feet. The mental breakdown was when I got into college, I went 20 almost 25 feet and got like 6th place.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's where the mental is like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
I went from being the dog.
That's reality right there.
Yeah, I went from being the dog in high school to, wait a minute. Now I got to go back to the drawing board and figure it out.
And then working on.
But think about today kids that was the number one in track, jumping 25 and then go to somewhere and get 8th place. Where is their mindset at?
Their mindset is I quit. Versus going back to the drawing board and understanding what I need to do to get better.
But once again, like we hope we get, like JJ said, we got somebody in their life to where they gave them the rundown. Like, it don't happen like that all the time. So
no, it doesn't happen.
You have to prepare yourself to be great, and you got to learn how to work out of defeat.
Correct.
As far as well as winning.
Yeah.
So you can't cheat the grind.
No, you can't.
Can't cheat the grind.
I mean, you look at it like this. If you take if I race you today and I beat you,
You ain't gonna beat me, man.
okay, whatever. But if I race you
Just let
today
you know.
and beat you, or you beat me, I feel like this. You
There
beat
you
me.
go, there you
Guess
go.
what? When I come back and see you again, I'm gonna be ready to get at you.
And still lose.
No, I wouldn't. But I mean, it's your story. I'm gonna let you tell it. But it's just the work
Great
I would have to put
story.
in. You know what I'm saying? The mental part of me was like, I cannot lose to him again.
Yeah.
And that's
Right,
true.
right.
I'm just
That's
messing
mental
with you.
toughness.
Yeah, I cannot
You know
lose
what
to him
though?
again.
To your point, there was so many different areas I wanted to go on that, but this is where I'm going to go, because with what you just spoke to, people don't get, and I say to this guys, and people look at me because it's so profound. We look at guys right now that don't play defense. Right? They'll just go up there, they faking at it,
Yeah.
and let you score. Hey man, why you let him score on you? Oh, I wasn't even trying. They think that's an excuse. I'm not going to try and get my best effort, because if I get my best effort
I'm shutting
and you
you down.
score on me, where do I have to turn? Now they can't handle that. We talk about mental toughness.
Oh, that is-
They're done.
Yeah.
You know, so like I talked about, hey, my thing is I'm gonna challenge. You score up, yeah, I'm mad. And just what you just said, I'm coming back. I bet you ain't gonna get another one.
You ain't
Hey,
gonna
you
get
get
another
Mark,
one.
hey, Mark Muhammad and them, hey, Marcus Dunbar, hey, they ain't coming at you. You better get one. They gonna say you ain't getting the next one. These kids now, no, I'm not gonna give you my best effort because if I fail,
I'm done.
I have nowhere else to turn and I'm done.
Yeah.
But see, and that's killer what you just said. If I fail,
Yeah.
being at the point, you know, playing basketball, and I played. My coach was Tim Smiley. If you know about Tim
You look
Smiley,
like Tim Smiley too a little bit.
his whole thing was about defense. We lock down. We ain't got to. Once we steal the ball, we ain't got to set up a play.
Yeah.
And that's I love playing defense, and it was the same thing on the track. If I beat you now, I got you mentally, because now when I come at you, I'm finna talk
Right.
trash to you.
Yeah.
Now I'm finna talk you out your game, and that's how I did it. Literally, I did it like that in high school and college. I talked people out of their game on the track because I knew I was good. But at the end of the day, you didn't know. I was in the training room going hard at it. No, I talk trash. You beat me, you got me. But when I see you again, you can hang it up.
See, that's one thing I miss about Weiser Park, because just like we spoke before this podcast started, you had to come with skills, heart, mental toughness just to get on the court with the older guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got used to playing against people that was better than me.
Yeah.
Like if I played with somebody that was equal or less than me, I didn't like it. I didn't like
It was a
playing.
waste
It
of
wasn't no
time.
challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a waste of time.
And E, to keep it in your sport, I literally, and again, I'm not going to say no names, but I literally watched a kid who was successful this whole track season, got into the state tournament, and got up against some guys that was just as fast as him. They coming down, they neck and neck. They got to, okay, now who going to dig down deep and get this win? I seen that kid pull up. I seen the kid pull up and let him go.
You probably weren't used to that pressure.
Bingo. He
Pressure
wasn't,
bust
but then that was
spikes.
it. They just said, yeah.
You a man or you a
Let
fight.
him win.
He had an excuse. That's exactly it.
Man,
to that
stop.
point. But that's what. But I mean, and that's when again I use that analogy the same when I use basketball wise. But for your sport, I saw that and I was like, oh my! I've never seen that for in my life, man.
Yeah.
This is newfound stuff.
That's what Ron Birchfield used to
We'll
do.
see a lot
boys.
of, you know something, after me watching my daughter play in high school, and I seen a lot of these kids don't have the mental grind, don't have the mental toughness, period. You know, and also the coaches, some of the coaches.
The coaches don't got the mental toughness.
And exactly. So if the coach don't have the mental toughness,
How can they instill it?
how can they instill that in the kids? I sat and watched 4 years at a school, and I'm sitting there like, dude, you suck as a coach, because I watched you have one of the best teams in the city, and a certain team come in with a certain player, you fold.
Some coaches don't know how to coach talent.
And that's and again though, do they suck, or is it what Mike was talking about earlier? Do they just not know how to handle today's athlete?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
was finna say,
this cat
because,
just
like,
totally sucks.
There's a mental skill to
I'm
that.
just saying. I'm just asking.
But here we go with this too. We could say you suck in the stand because we ain't down there doing the things.
Correct.
we
Well,
think.
see, the thing about
I'm
it
just
is,
saying, you know.
I mean, as a parent, yeah, I want to sit on the sideline and watch my child versus coaching. So at the end of the day, listen, go ahead. But I'm telling you, and it's funny for me sitting in the stands and yelling, "Hey, lock down," or do this, and watch the team listen to me on the sidelines versus listen to their coach.
Because if he would have yelled at them, they would have shut down.
They would have shut down because simple fact, guess what? They don't believe in him.
Yeah.
And that's one
Bingo.
thing as
That's a tough one right there though.
and that's one thing as a leader on a or as a coach or anything. If your team don't believe in you and don't buy into what you are telling them, the team will shut down. And I seen it.
Yeah.
And that's real talk.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
That happens even in the higher level
Yeah.
as well. Hey, you guys, man, this has been a interesting topic, and we probably gonna have to come back and talk more of this. And you out there in the audience, what do you think about our physical and mental health with our student athlete? Send us some feedback so we can respond to you when we have an opportunity to see what you got to bring to the table. Thank you for allowing us to be in your life, and let's have a good day. E, take us out, please.
Hey, always respect your mom.
Respect the game on 3. 1, 2, 3, respect the game.